get into these arguments. And then again, let me say this. I've said this forever ago, but I'll say it. Careful when arguing with a fool, because from a distance, it's hard to tell who the fool is.
That's exactly right.
We like to start every show with a proverb.
Yeah.
You want to read the proverb?
I do. Proverbs 27:7 is what we're going to read today. It says, "One who is full loathes honey, but to one who is hungry, everything bitter is sweet." And I'll read it again. It says, "One who is full loathes honey, but to one who is hungry, everything bitter is sweet." And when I first read that, it uses some language that's obviously biblical language there, and the way that it's looking at somebody who's full versus somebody who's hungry. But there's the real world tie that as I really pondered on that this week is, when somebody is like a self-righteous person and they're full of their own righteousness and their own knowledge and their own wisdom, when you share scripture, you share the gospel, you share knowledge of the Bible with them, they just kind of look at it like, don't you know who I am? Like, I've already got this stuff figured out. But the adverse part of that person who comes in with humility, who understands that they can't do this on their own, then when they hear the gospel, they hear knowledge or wisdom like this from the Bible, that they're more open-minded to actually receive it because they understand that they can't go through life on their own. There's a brokenness. And I think that's kind of when we look at our lives, that's kind of what we talk through on this, is that we're coming into this a point of, it's like, I can't do this without Jesus. If I'm on my own, I'm a fallen, broken man, and I recognize that, and I do things very, very poorly. I make really poor choices, and so there's a necessity that I have for Jesus. And so when I read that verse, very easy would be able to look at it and just go, you would just tie it to food. But I think there's a deeper aspect that comes with what the scripture is actually talking about.
Gosh, that's fascinating. I didn't consider that. I went the food angle. I fell to the easy trap.
No, it's not an easy trap. There's a food angle there.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously. What an interesting concept for you to dwell on then. I think that's fascinating. And it really makes me think of when you watch, if you're unfortunately stuck watching the news, and they'll do these talk shows where everybody's speaking over each other. And it's these argumentative, it's disturbing. I can't watch it, but you go to somebody's house and they have it on, and it's 3 different images, or sometimes even like 4 or 5 different people. They're just their face on the screen. It's like split screen, and they're arguing about whatever. And boy, each one of them thinks that they are so right. And there is no space for new learning in there. They have come to the terminus of their ability to learn, and now there's no space for new knowledge, and whatever the other person's bringing, they're mad about it, and they won't even look at it, is the thing. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. Is if you're talking from that angle, Proverbs 27:7, "One who is full loathes honey from the comb, but to the hungry, even what is bitter tastes sweet." And if you're already filled up on your thing, no other thing in that realm makes sense. And it reminds me, we did that podcast recently, and you put some clips out of how far the earth is from the sun. And boy, did we get comments on that. Boy, people did not like your opinion. And then especially when you corrected the one person about, well, actually, that 1.2 is, that's 1 to 2%, which is what I said. And then they, of course, didn't like that. But this goes back to like what we're taught in school, this science knowledge as the full knowledge, the completion of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think. So this person thinks they've completed their knowledge, rather than going and then saying, actually, scientifically, here's what it is. They just said, no, you're wrong. They didn't explain themselves. You went and looked it up and then gave them the actual data. And then rather than continuing to engage in that specific piece, they changed to something else that you were wrong about. So at the end of the day, they just wanted you to be wrong. They were full on anything they were going to learn about this stuff. They've heard enough. It's done. And, move right on or continue attacking. And that's that goal shifting, which happens whenever you get into these arguments. And then again, let me say this. I've said this forever ago, but I'll say it. Careful when arguing with a fool, because from a distance, it's hard to tell who the fool is.
That's exactly right.
So if we, and bless you, man, for the way that you approached it. It's the way we both approach things when people do make comments that are offhanded is, hey, thank you so much for engaging with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your thoughts on this matter. Can you extrapolate a little further on what you're trying to say so I can better understand why I'm wrong or where you're coming from or da-da-da. We try to engage like that. We think that that's probably the best way to engage. And then if somebody's just
belligerent,
well, if they're just pressed in their heart on just only being negative, then we'll discontinue the commentary.
I'll be the first one to admit if I'm wrong on things. When I was talking about the degree of the Earth to the moon, I was probably off a little bit on that. I'll own that.
I think you said 1% to 2% instead of 1.23746.
Whatever it is. And here's the thing. Like we talk about, we're untrained on here. I never want to be just so simple with that argument. Be like, well, I'm untrained, so I can say whatever I want to say on here. I never want to look at it like that. I always want to be, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I didn't take a tape measure from the Earth to the sun and measure the distance.
Right.
So I can't for sure be exactly right. We look up and we do research on any topic we want to talk about. Neither one of us has a certificate for any one of these things from some university. So we're not deeply steeped in these things. But we've done our roundabout research over the course of a week to come up with a conclusion that is sometimes against us, by the way. I've found many of those. We've talked about them here. And frequently we come from a place of no knowledge, so then we'll maybe bring someone in that has some knowledge. Or we'll try to find everything we can, and then you'll find something different, and you've heard us do it here if you've listened to more than one podcast, where it turns out you got something a little different than I did, or I got something in da-da. Hey, thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Every time you do that, it helps us move our show forward.
Your interaction helps us expand our mission. So thank you for joining us.
Now back to the show. It is a bizarre thing that to be.
It's not. We say it should. We think it's bizarre, but the reality is that people that are coming against the conception that there's an intelligent design out there. So it's just. The problem is that they have to look at that and go, if I agree to these terms that there's an intelligent design, then I have to take the next step and agree that there could possibly be a God, which means my whole life I've been wrong.
Well, it means accountability too.
Yeah, right. And so now they don't want to be, there's no humility in this because they just want to be able to say, I'm right, you're wrong.
I always think the bottom line is accountability.
Yeah.
And the fear of accountability. Fear of the things I'm doing that I know somewhere in my deepest, darkest part of my heart are not balanced, fair, or right, or good.
Right.
Any one of those things. And I think the idea that at some point in time, somebody is going to say, hey, that's not right, and you have to change, you have to make those things right now, you have to go about maybe trying to do some amending of the things you've done. All of that is that's frightful if you have lived an entire life away from that system.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting and difficult. And I'm not trying to crap on the people. I'm trying to relate by saying I was there. I feared accountability, and it was a hard choice for me to then choose Christ and start walking that path because it was unfamiliar.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole mission here, is to try to familiarize the hard road as the place that's actually the place you don't need to be anymore. You can come to this road that is purpose-driven, which is an easier road. It's still a hard road, but the purpose-driven nature of it can carry you through hard things. Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately the message of today too. I did stick just to the food analogy, and I was thinking about when I opened my refrigerator, day 2 of the fast, all kinds of things that I haven't touched. The yogurt that sat in there for a week now that my wife bought. I was looking at it like, man, I bet that yogurt is great. I had days in advance that great looking yogurt could have been in my belly, but it didn't look great any of those other days. I opened the cabinet to grab something out of there. There's all this food, and I'm like, wow, Triscuits? I bet those are the garlic ones. Oh my God, they're the garlic ones. Oh my goodness.
My wife last night we're watching TV. She came and called into bed. She had rolled up.
Stop it.
meat and cheese and pickles. And I don't even care for pickles, but just the thought of a pickle, because I think that's what I'm missing the most right now is flavor of things. Because all I'm drinking right now is water with salt and lemon for a little bit of flavor, and that's the only flavor I've had for 3 days. I miss flavor. I think that's what it is that I really miss in it.
That's funny. My wife, so as we're driving, one of my nieces, shout out to Harper, you killed it, had a play that she did. They did Aladdin.
Yeah.
God, it was so cute. These kids are so cute, and they're so talented. It was so much fun. It's nuts, too. The kids are nuts. It's funny. But as we're driving over there, she's like, oh, I haven't eaten anything all day today. And I go, oh, no kidding? And she goes, oh, you don't mind if I grab a little steak? She grabs out of her purse. She has a meat stick and then cheese. So then she's doing one bite of cheese, one bite of meat, just like you're saying. I'm like, that tastes good. That looked good. She's like, shut up.
Right.
So the point is that to the hungry, even what is bitter tastes sweet. That's that second piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was like everything that I normally wouldn't be mouth-watering towards. I was mouth-watering towards and feeling like, wow, that looks good. Holy smokes, that is the best looking beef stick cheese combo I've ever seen. You know, and then trying also at the same time going, all right, God, but I'm doing this thing. You're with me. I got this thing. And pretty quickly shifting my mentality out of it. And I think that was at least my experiential way to get out of any of those deeper, like it's funny, it's like when you'd start really thinking about it, that hunger would really kick in further. Mm-hmm. So it's clearly psychological.
Yes. I'll talk about that when we get into some of the health stuff, what's actually happening physiologically to the body when that happens.
What I think the big picture here is in this proverb is you need to have a reorientation of your desires. You need to reorient what your desires are. Fasting gives you a great opportunity to that. This thing saying, you know, if you're already full, the yogurt in the fridge doesn't look good. The meat stick and cheese doesn't look good. Probably smells bad even. You've like been hungry before you eat, and then you'll go get around other food and you're just like, ugh.
Well, that's why they say never go to the grocery store hungry.
Sure.
Right.
So, yeah, because then you're just buying all this other crap that you might not need or use.
Yeah.
So the reason we decided to do this fast right now is because we wanted to honor God in this time of, it's Easter. Yeah. This week is Easter, this Sunday.